Hey everybody, Doop666 here. Bet you didn't see this coming. I don't know how many of you all have been with me from the very beginning, but if you have, this might look a little familiar. I'm currently house/pet sitting for my parents, and currently coming to you from my old bedroom. It's a little different. Still got some tunes blasting. Still got some Dr. Pepper going, my drink of choice in those years for sure. No tokes today, still on the wagon. Gonna just get right into this, guys. Welcome to my 1960s horror update. First one we have here is The Innocents from 1961. And this is, I believe, an adaptation of The Turn of the Screw, much like what is that? It's like a mini-series that came out recently, the Bly Manor one. It's the same exact premise and plot as that. This is just, a 60s, haunted house sort of deal. But it's more of a sad, strange character study sort of, as well. And it's very, very, very well done. Very, very eerie, but not necessarily a scary horror film. Just, it's definitely a haunted house film, but to what extent, psychologically it kind of fucks with you as well, too. So very, very, very good, The Innocents. Ooh. I forgot to mention, soundtrack for today is Loather. They're from out in the desert here in SoCal. Just played with them last night, actually, in Murrieta. It's at Solaris Brewery. And these guys are fucking sick. Great hardcore band. Playing with them again in May. I have a show booked here in Banning, in my hometown. Loather's on the bill. A few of my bands are on the bill. It's going to be sick. Alright, anyways, back to the review, guys. We've got a classic one here. I have loved this film since I started collecting. Me and my dad watched this when I was a kid for the first time, and we both just fell in love with it. And I don't know that we've really revisited it too much in recent years, but every time I mention it, it still gives him goosebumps. This is a really, really classic, great 60s horror film. Super, super eerie as well. A bit scarier than the film that I just featured, The Innocents. But yeah, this is just, it's very lacking in a budget, you can see, but it's just so imaginative and well shot and well executed that it just works. It's fantastic. Super, super scary, not frightening scary, just eerie, gloomy, weird scary. You have to check it out if you haven't. Carnival of Souls, 1962. Go out and fucking watch that if you haven't. Great movie. Next up, also from 1962, we have this MGM DVD with Basil Rathbone and the Magic Sword. This is definitely more of a fantasy sort of film, but I include it because it's got some horror adjacent effects. There's some great creature effects in this movie. That's kind of the reason I love this movie so well. It's decently acted. It's kind of a schlocky little fantasy deal, but it's fun. It definitely hits all the factors that you want to see in a fantasy movie. It's definitely very medieval based. Let me get this next tune going. Yeah, but you got a dragon, you've got all sorts of cool creature effects. It's just tons of fun. Definitely not really a horror film, but adjacent enough that I wanted to include it. I really enjoyed it. Got an alpha video here, The Trial from 1962. This is an Orson Welles adaptation, and I've never read the original, so maybe this went over my head a little bit, but this is a pretty tedious flick. Filed away under horror, just barely. I would say that the horror elements here are very, very loose. It's really just kind of a crime drama sort of deal. You don't really know what's happening either. It kind of it's very Hitchcockian in that it unravels itself in that sort of way where you don't really know what's going on until the end. And by the end, I don't even know, honestly, do you really know what's going on? It's just such an insane, strange watch. I think it'll grow on me more if I read the source material eventually, and I plan to, but for now, it just didn't quite hit home for me, but still, not a bad flick. I would definitely recommend it if you love 60s flicks. Okay, for 1963, this is a bootleg. I just threw it in here. I have this film already on a couple different formats. But I just love it so much, had to feature it again. The Haunting from 1963. Probably the pinnacle of haunted house movies, in my opinion. Just Not a whole lot on screen, but the way they build the tension in this film is like unrivaled. You know, the character dynamics are fantastic when they start to wear on each other, and I just think that this movie is a perfect execution of a true haunted house movie. Like, you have to see this if you haven't. I talk about it many times over the years because, you know, it's worth talking about. It's such a great film, The Haunting. Okay, we've got a Vincent Price, Edgar Allan Poe, one of those Hammer film, like from that stint of all those Edgar Allan Poe films with Price. This is a lesser known one. This is The Haunted Palace, 1963. Still a pretty fun flick. Like, the effects in this movie, like the makeup effects are really fun. The acting is stoic and wonderful as always. You know, it's very hammed up, very, very Hammer. So, you know, tread lightly if you're not really into that, but this is the 60s, baby. You know, this is what we live for. Definitely not my favorite Poe adaptation as far as these Hammer films are concerned, but a worthy effort for sure. Like, if you've never seen this, I would definitely do yourself a favor. What I can say is that I don't see a lot of Poe influence in this, and there's a lot more Lovecraftian sort of stuff going on. I don't know what's up with that, but just something I kind of noticed. But still, a really, really cool, like, there's a lot of Poe ideas and themes, you know, throughout as well. So, still very cool if you're into Poe. Also very cool if you're into Lovecraft. So, yeah, check that out. Haunted Palace. Okay. Next one here, we got another alpha video. I'm going to start up one more track. I think we can get it done after that. Okay, yeah, this is a alpha video, Barbara Steele starring in Nightmare Castle. This is another one that I've had for years on like multi-pack format, and I watched this years and years and years and years ago with my dad, like around the same time that I watched good lord, how can it? Carnival of Souls. Anyways, I think it was on the same multi-pack. Anyways, didn't really enjoy this one as much back then, I think, is like the way I remember it. But revisiting it now with my appreciation for Barbara Steele and this drive-in schlock that was just pooped out in the 60s, man. Like, they were just shitting these fucking things out. This is definitely one of my favorites. Like, I love the score in this. I love the gore effects at the end. This is like a really, really solid drive-in flick. So, definitely check that out if that's what you're about. Like, it's got some, like, ghost story, haunted house sort of dealings, and then it's got some, like, proto-slashery, psychodrama sort of dealings. But it's kind of set so early that, like, I don't know, it feels a little different, and that's why I like it. I really enjoy Nightmare Castle, 1966. This is another one my dad turned me on to. Not really a horror film, but horrifying, you know, to the extent that I wanted to include it. This is Wild in the Streets from 1968. This is an Olive Films collaboration with MGM. And this movie is, like I said, not really a horror film, but the subject matter can really be, like, I guess, taken as horrifying if you were to apply it to reality. Obviously, it's just so ridiculous that we couldn't even fathom such a thing happening. But I don't know. You kind of you suspend belief for a little bit, and this movie is actually a pretty strange but pretty fun executed little thing here. Very poppy still. Like, I don't know, it seems like it was accessible at the time when this was made. Like, they're just trying to get everyone to see it. You know, obviously that's with every film, but this is just this is a very message driven film, and I don't really know what the message is by the end, but you definitely feel different after you're done with it. It's just such a strange, weird kind of, like, it's like a drama film, but there's a lot of action. There's like a musical portion of it. It's so strange. You just have to check it out. If you like hippie movies though, and like weird, just like take over the kids are revolting sort of stuff from the 60s and 70s, you'll definitely like Wild in the Streets. Pretty fun film. Alright guys, we're going to finish this one up. The last one for our 1960s update is yet another one from my childhood. I have never owned this film other than VHS until now, and I don't know of any legitimate release. Not to take away from Monster Media's release here, this is obviously a lovingly crafted boot, but a boot nonetheless. War of the Gargantuas from 1966. I love these cheesy little covers. It's like a VHS cover, and then you got your blank burned disc. Isn't that cool? Get this last track on for Loather. Anyways, this is hands down my favorite kaiju film of all time. Like, golden era of the 60s. The monsters in this movie are absolutely awesome. They're super fucking scary. Like, I remember being terrified of this movie. There's also an opening sequence that has a giant octopus fighting with one of these kaijus that is not to be missed. It's fantastic. It's just like, I live for this sort of stuff. It's one of the best kaiju films of all time. Like, obviously its budget shows here and there, but I have to say, like, the brutality you can, like, witness in this movie is, like, unhinged compared to a lot of, like, early Godzilla stuff that seemed really, like, PG-esque. I don't know. This is not that. There are some gruesome scenes for sure in this, and I genuinely think that the monsters themselves are, like, pretty fucking creepy and, like, scary looking. So, yeah, tons of fun, action-packed, great pacing. I couldn't recommend it anymore. It's, like, my favorite kaiju/monster movie of all time. War of the Gargantuas, 1966. Go fuck with that. Alright guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for hanging out again. I know I've been sort of regular again, but I want to get a little more regular. Obviously, I'm still doing the live footage. I dumped a bunch of live footage from my band's show yesterday, our full set, Out of Chaos, as well as at least a partial set or more from every other band that played yesterday. So go check that shit out. It's the last videos that go up before this one. And yeah. I just hope everyone's doing well. I'm staying real busy, but got lots of updates planned for you guys. Going to keep the channel real active, so if you want to keep talking horror, keep on coming through and keep on creeping while you're at it. So much love, everybody. Dual666 out. It's been a pleasure to come at you from the old space again. Take it easy, y'all.